case we're going to talk about today. What's it called? What's the name of it?
Schroeder versus City of Rialto.
All right, and tell us a little bit of the background about this case and your involvement in it.
Well, this was a case that I was not going to take. Another lawyer had the case, called me about it several times, survived motion for summary judgment, tried to settle it. I think at that point, their highest offer was $7,500. They eventually went up to $50,000. I met with the lawyer. I met with the client. I still didn't think I could take the case. But the two things that made me decide to take it was, number one, the arrogance of defense counsel. He told me that he ran into the defense counsel in court and he said, "Hey, how you doing? How's it going?" He said, and he said, "Oh, we're doing great. We're just winning all our cases left and right. We're just having a great time." And when I heard that, that bothered me because I don't like arrogance. And also I like the judge. We were venued downtown. We had a really good judge, Dolly G, who I knew would be fair. And those were the two reasons I decided to help the client and the attorney out, and I tried the case. For me, you know, we have 5 or 6 punches and 2 baton strikes. Most of my cases involve, you know, death, catastrophic injury, really, really high levels of use of force. So that was another hesitation. But because a lot of your listeners have emailed saying, you know, we have smaller cases. Can you do an analysis on a case that maybe is a little bit smaller? And so here we are. A lot of your audience are lawyers. They want to be trial lawyers. They are trial lawyers. They're interested in civil rights. It's cases like this that all the hard work you do to become a good trial lawyer really pays off. You could really make a difference in someone's life. You feel really good about it. Here, the city of Rialto and their attorneys were basically saying, $50,000, you're lucky we're offering that. And to come back with a $3 million verdict and $700,000 in fees in a 1-week trial, where you really made a difference in someone's life and raised the bar in the civil rights community, because now other lawyers can say, hey, Dale got $3 million in this case, I have a similar case. And hopefully it'll help push up the settlement value of the cases. So this really made me feel good that I was able to help out the plaintiff and his referring lawyer.
Walk backwards. Walk backwards. Walk around the fence. Stop and turn away from me. Stop and turn away from me. Stop. Hey, right, come over here. Come over, right, come over here. Stop. Stop right there. Drop to your knees. I got the car.
Stop it right there, Marcel. Okay, so a couple other things here, Dan. You know, I was looking carefully to see if there were acts of compliance. They told him to put his hands up in the truck. He did. They told him to get out. He did. They told him to open the door. He did. They told him again to put his hands up, turn and face away from them. He did. Walk backwards. He did. He walked around this gate, this fence, to the left, to the right, and all the way up until we see get down on your knees. And you might have heard him say just before he went down on his knees, he said a couple times, calm down, calm down. And, you know, they didn't like that very much. And getting back to what I said earlier, sometimes the officers come into court and they act all polite and professional, but their true colors come out in this videotape. Listen to the profanity, listen to the tone of their voice. I'll guarantee you the jury did not like that. That made them look bad in front of everyone, which even becomes more important when the plaintiff's attorney is so professional and courteous in comparison to this type of language and attitude. It really draws for a big contrast and is very helpful. Just a teaching point, always have your expert or you offer in closing argument not only what they shouldn't have done, but what they should have done.
Not or, but probably and. I mean, because what comes to the expert, then you bring it back home.
Absolutely. You have to explain. Many experts are just saying they shouldn't have done this and they shouldn't have done that, but they never get around to explaining what they should have done. Same thing for the lawyer. You're criticizing what they did do, but you're also explaining what they should have done. One of the challenges with this case, the plaintiff was under the influence of drugs, which we addressed in a motion in limine. He also had pled to 2 misdemeanors, misdemeanor evading and wet reckless. And the jury was going to know that. So, and I knew I had 2 baton strikes and 4 to 6 punches to the head. So the question was, gee, is a jury going to necessarily think that's that excessive in light of other cases with shootings and horrific uses of force? So a couple things played into that. The first thing that played into that was setting the standard. And this is the same thing I do in every case. When can you use deadly force in a deadly force case? When can you punch someone in the face or head? When can you hit him with a baton strike? And I just want to mention a few things about closing arguments. Really, when you are thinking about putting together a presentation at trial, you really should be thinking about the end first, right? What's the jury instructions going to look like? What is the verdict form going to look like? What's my closing? What do I want my closing to look like? And my rebuttal argument. And then how am I going to get there? How am I going to present the case to have all that ammunition? How does it fit in with my strategy, my theme, with framing the case? In your closing argument, you ask for damages. In this case, amazingly, I only asked for $1 to $2 million in damages, and I got 3. I probably should have asked for 3 to 5. I might have gotten 5, but sometimes I might have sold the case short because I just didn't want to turn them off by asking for too much. The client would have been happy with 200,000, so I figured if I could get $1 million or $1.5 million, we're doing okay plus fees. But it worked out better. But when you give your number, and you have to give a number, you should give a number. There's only 5 times I didn't give a number, and it worked out okay sometimes, but it's dangerous. Then when they come up, they got a choice. They're either going to give a number or no number. If they don't give any number, then you could argue that you could imply that they thought your number was appropriate. That's why they didn't give a counter number. If they give a low number, then you could say, well, now you see why we're here, or you could see how they value injuries or life. So,
Dan, let me ask you this. Your rebuttal, do you have a general structure for your rebuttal that you kind of use in all cases and then kind of adjust it based upon this particular case and what the defense lawyer says, or is it just all extemporaneous every time? Because I see, because you divide your time 2/3 for the first part of close, 1/3 for the close. So give us some insight on that.
first of all, as far as the division of time, it depends on how much time I get. I would love to have a half hour for rebuttal when I can, or 40 minutes, but sometimes I don't get that. Secondly, yes, I do have a general format for my rebuttal in cases. And thirdly, I outline many of my rebuttal points before the start of trial. I believe rebuttal argument is extremely important in all cases, particularly civil rights cases, because even if you do a good job and do a good argument, the other side's going to have a lot of good points. And the jury literally could be swinging their way by the time they're done. It's now on you. What do you got?